And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the DFS Minute. Today is May 19th, 2015, Tuesday morning, and I'm your host, Michael Rathburn, here on rotocurve.com. You can hit me up at Fantasy Rath on Twitter. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on last night, but last night was pretty brutal in terms of baseball, not just DFS, but pretty much every game was a 1-1 game, and only one starting pitcher, which was Cole Hamels, got the win. So a lot of tilting last night, not heavy tilting, but frustration with Harvey, Kluber, Sale, just, the guys that you were hoping that would get wins. They did pitch well, but then again, everybody pretty much did pitch well outside of Pomerantz and McCullers and a couple other guys. But for the most part, just a frustrating night because there wasn't a lot of offense, and pretty much unless you stacked like the Brewers or somebody like that, it was a tough, low-scoring night. So just frustration overall. But that's what happens when you only have 6 games. That kind of stuff's going to happen. So hopefully you went light. Hopefully you didn't play heavy. That's what we did recommend you to do. 15 games today, no day games, huge slate of action, and lots of pitching options, lots of hitting options. I'm going to hit you up with some pitching options, just my brief observations overall. Did talk about the DraftKings King of Boston tournament that they're running. $27 qualifier tonight. They're going to run one every day for the next 12 days, it looks like. And $150,000. Looks like 12 seats with $50K going to first prize. Now, the only negative that I see right now on this is the pay trail is pretty weak. It is only about 5%, but it's, I don't know what they're going to do as far as qualifiers go. They are advertising at 27 so far, and the field isn't that big. It's 765. So I think what they're trying to do is, even though the pay trail is a little weak, it's a pretty small event. It's not huge, and it's still a good live final, so it's a good live experience. So I think what they're trying to do is make it more affordable, have a 27 versus something in the $1,000 range, which is what they're doing for the World Championship. So from that perspective, I think it's good. They're also running on Wednesday night the $300,000 swing for the fences, which is only going to be a $3 entry with $100K going to first. You got to imagine it's going to be overlay in that because they need a massive amount of entries just to get in. So they are running a bunch of satellites. If you're a very small stakes player, they're running they were running them last night. The 25-cent satellites, you might as well take a shot in a handful of them. I mean, look, you could play 12, which is basically $3. If you win one ticket, it pays for itself. If you win more than one, then you're ahead of the game. And even if you don't win any, it's a $3 investment. So it's not really, it's not really that big a deal. And I think it's pretty cool what they're doing. I'm noticing a lot more of their 25-cent games over on DraftKings. And I think they're onto something because they're filling up and they're adding more every day. So I think that there's something to these 25-cent games, and I would imagine that they're going to try to expand on these even further. I know that they are running more satellites at 25 cents. Not as much tournaments and things like that. So I think it's pretty cool that at least if you're somebody who wants to play in satellites but doesn't want to spend a ton of money, that's a good way to do it. The weather situation today, everything so far looks good, but then again, it's about 7 a.m., so anything can change. Philadelphia, Colorado looks like it might be the only game at risk, but anything can happen as that game is a good solid 12 to 14 hours from now. So just keep an eye on the weather situation today, but everything is looking so far so good. There were a couple potential issues maybe in Boston as well. Let's talk about pitching. There's a lot of, obviously with 30 potential pitchers today, you're going to have a lot of options. The two heaviest favorites on the board today are Anibal Sanchez going against Milwaukee and Jimmy Nelson. He's a -170 favorite with an 8 total. Now what I do is, I posted this in the forum, is you need to understand how to calculate Vegas odds when you're projecting. And so the projected score for the game using Vegas odds and the formula that I put up in the forum is around 5-3. That's about, I'm rounding up and down. So it's about a 2-run differential, which is the highest for the day. Now, the Brewers do have our number 5 K rate against right-handed pitching, and Anibal's been pretty good lately. And you would expect that the Tigers are going to be able to mount some offense against Jimmy Nelson here. So here's where I like Anibal. I like him on DraftKings. He's 8,100. He's much cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. He's actually 8,800 on FanDuel. So I would still recommend him over there because it is a one-pitcher site and you are looking for wins and Ks and innings. So from that perspective, he's still in play. But he really looks good on DraftKings at 8,100. So I definitely have him circled over there. The other heavy favorite is Francisco Liriano at home against Nolasco, the Twins. About 170 with a 7.5 total. We do like Liriano at home, as always, in a good matchup. He's really good at home. And going against the Twins. Now, the Twins against lefties are kind of middle of the pack. They do have some right-handed bats, but nothing that really scares me too much. So I still like Liriano here. Now, he's a little bit more expensive than Anibal, but he's still pretty good. 9,300 on DraftKings, 9,400 on FanDuel. He's in play on both sites, especially FanDuel, because you are looking at only the one pitcher, and you get a little bit of salary relief from Cueto and Gray. As far as the projected run total, we're looking at around 4.7 to 2.8, so just below that 2-run differential that we have with Anibal. But I do think that Liriano has the better matchup, so I would lean a little bit more towards Liriano. National League, at home, and going against the Twins there. Okay, Sonny Gray is the other guy that people are looking at. Now, he's the top price pitcher on the board. He's on the road at Houston. He's priced at 10-1 on DraftKings, 10-5 on FanDuel. The thing is, he's averaged about 24, 25 points on DraftKings so far this year. So even at the 10K price, you're still getting that great value. We look at a multiplier of around 2.4, 2.5 when we're looking at pitchers. We're looking at a floor of 25 with our cash game pitchers. So you really need to get about 50 points out of your pitchers in your heads-to-heads and 50-50s in order to be competitive. You're looking at 50 points on pitching, 70 points on hitting to hit the 120 magic number. It might be a little bit higher tonight because we do have a full slate, but 120 should get you in the money on most nights. So Gray's on the road. He's a little bit higher priced. Now, he's about a 130 favorite with an 8 total. Projected score of the game is about 4.5 to 3.5, so about a 1-run differential there. Not huge, but the Astros are the #1 team in baseball when striking out against right-handed pitching. So heavy strikeouts against righties. And you have Sonny Gray, who's been very consistent, very good this year. He is in play for me tonight in 50-50s and heads-ups. I don't know yet if he's my #1 guy. I still feel like I'm leaning more towards Liriano here. But Sonny Gray has been very consistent, and he has a really good matchup. The only thing I'd be a little bit leery about is Oakland has been playing very poorly lately. So Gray might pitch a good game, but if they don't get him any run support, then you don't get the win. So for me, I feel a lot more confident with Anibal or Liriano on FanDuel than I would Sonny Gray. John Neese is a guy that he's at home, and I like John Neese at home. He's only 7,500 on DraftKings, 7,900 on FanDuel. I think he makes a nice tournament play here because of the value and the savings that you're going to get. Now, there's not huge upside with Neese, and a lot of times that's what you want for a tournament. But he's been extremely consistent at home. He doesn't get knocked around at home, and the Cardinals have been struggling. They've been striking out a ton. They're actually #6 against left-handed pitching in terms of strikeout rate. So I like the price. Now, he is a slight underdog against Waka. The Cardinals pretty much have the best record in baseball at this point, so that's really where that's coming from. But I still think you're getting Neese here at a pretty good value. The total is 7, so it's expected low-scoring game. And I think that you're minimizing the damage. I think that Neese is in a position tonight where he's not going to get blown up. The potential of blow-up for Neese tonight is very small. So I would feel safe running Neese out there in pretty much any contest. I would feel safe running him out there in 50-50 heads-ups and in tournaments. But I would mostly lean towards tournaments because I'm going to get about a $1,500 to $2,000 savings, and I can apply that money towards hitting, which I'm going to need. The other guy that I'm looking at tonight is James Shields at home against Jason Hamill and the Cubs. James Shields is about -120 with a 6.5 run total. keeping an eye on these Petco run totals. A lot of times they're throwing out these 6.5, 7s, and they're not justified. Bad pitching in a good park. This is a different situation. This 6.5 is justified, and you've got pitchers that I think are definitely viable options on both sides. But Hamill is actually a little bit priced up for me. So I do like Shields in this spot, 9,700 on DraftKings, 8,800 on FanDuel. So he is more attractive on FanDuel from a pricing perspective. However, the likelihood of getting a win tonight is slim. So if it's a low-scoring, close game, it's going to be tough. But you got to like the fact that Shields should be able to go 7 innings, should be able to get you 7 Ks at minimum, I think, because he's potentially getting 10 with earned runs of 0, 1, or 2. I think Shields can get to 14 without the win tonight, and that makes him a safe play for me. So definitely, and the Cubs are actually the second worst team as far as strikeout rate goes against right-handed pitching. So you have a lot of upside with strikeouts and a minimal output for runs for Shields tonight. So those are the 5 guys that I'm going to be taking a look at today and seeing what happens throughout the day when lineups come out, weather comes out. Remember to hit up Benny and Josh today at 12 noon Eastern for the Curve Show. They're going to be running down all the hitters, all the pitchers, and then giving you a teaching lesson today on daily fantasy baseball. This is Rath signing off for today. I want to wish everybody a great day. And as we always say here at Roto Curve, stay classy, DFS.